Hey, how y'all doing out there? Back at you again with another video. Today I'd like to do a quick look back at the Nexus 6P in 2020. Is it still a good phone? Well, unfortunately, I'm going to have to tell you right from the beginning, because I don't pull punches, it is not still a good phone. At least not the one that I have. Now, maybe there could be somebody out there that still has a Nexus 6P that's good, but mine's not so much. But let's look back at what this phone offered when it came out. Now keep in mind, this phone was released in 2015, so it's been 5 years, so it's old. So you can't expect something this old to work all, but so well. But let's look back at what it offered back then. Here you're looking at a 5.7-inch OLED display with a resolution of 1440 by 2560. That's 518 PPIs. You got Gorilla Glass 4 on the front with an aluminum back and an aluminum frame. So the phone was built very, very well, in my opinion. It has Android 8, which is unfortunate because now we're on Android 10, so it's not getting any more security or OS updates. It has a Snapdragon 810 with the octa-core processor with the Adreno 430 GPU. You got 32 gigs of internal storage and 3 gigs of RAM. You got a 3.5mm headphone jack that's located on the top of the device. You got dual stereo front-firing speakers. You got a 24-bit audio through the headphone jack. You get an NFC, Bluetooth 4.2, a 3,450 milliamp battery with 10-watt charging, a fingerprint sensor that's located on the rear. With your main camera, you only have one camera on the rear, and it's a 12.3 megapixel lens with laser autofocus. It shoots at 1080p at 30, 720, and 240 frames per second. It also shoots at 4K at 30 frames per second. On the front, you got a selfie camera that's 8 megapixel. It shoots at 1080p, 720p, and 480p at 30 frames per second. So what's missing on this phone, according to what's that I want on my phone? No expandable memory, no face unlock, no wireless charging, no always on display. What's still good about this device, you may ask? Well, the first thing I'm gonna say about this phone that's good on it is the display. The display is absolutely gorgeous. It's beautiful. Now, you do got these big giant bezels on the front, at the bottom and at the top, but that's where your speakers are. Even though I always felt like they didn't have to be this big, but it is what it is. They're big giant bezels. Even with Samsung, when this, I think if not, I think the Note 4 came out in 2015 or 2014, I'm not sure, but these bezels didn't have to be quite this big. It's unfortunate, but there is speakers on the front, and the speakers are both on the front. That's what I meant to say. See, if you look a little closer, I don't know if you can see that, but it's a speaker grill up the top and the bottom. I guess you can't really see it. Looks a little too dark. But anyway, that's where the speaker grills are. So big giant bezels, but I have to say the display is beautiful. It really is. It's absolutely beautiful. I love this display. It's very bright. It's very vibrant. The colors are very punchy. It's an OLED display. Okay, 518 PPIs, so it's absolutely beautiful. So that's the first thing that I love about this device. The second thing is the build quality. Now, I love the build quality on this device. You get an aluminum frame, so it's built real well, real sturdy, not built cheaply. And you got this beautiful aluminum back with a very strange camera setup back here, camera module. Now, there's never been another phone that had a camera module quite like this. This is very different, very unique. You may want to keep this around for nostalgia purposes, but I like that. I mean, when I first saw it, I thought it was very ugly, but I've grown to love it. It's very nice. I don't dislike it at all. Here you got your fingerprint sensor back here. You got Nexus logo back here. It was made by Huawei. That's when, at the time, Google was still collaborating with other manufacturers, allowing them to make their hardware while Google just focused on the software. Of course, we know now with the Pixel devices that Google does the hardware and the software, even though Google bought HTC. So HTC is really designing their hardware while Google still does the software. So Google's not really in full control of the hardware. So they still have another manufacturer doing it, even though it's a part of them now, but it's HTC. And in my opinion, HTC is not doing that good of a job as far as design, in my opinion. Okay. All right. So on the sides here, you got your power button up here, which shouldn't be the power button, should be down here. And you got your volume rockers down here. Now, that's just, I don't like the button placement. See, now you can see the speaker a little bit better here and up there. Okay. Down at the bottom, only thing you got down here is your USB Type-C port. You got nothing on the left, and you got your headphone jack up here. Now, I gotta say, with the headphone jack, now you do have the ambient display, but no always on display. Far as the headphone jack is concerned, the audio quality of sound that I got out of this phone was absolutely terrible. I mean, it sounded horrible. It was bad. So I did not I did not enjoy listening to audio through this device, not at all. It just wasn't good. So the next thing that I like about this device, which is not many things, is the dual front firing speakers. Now, they're not the loudest, they're not the best quality, but they do sound good, especially for the time when they came out. They do sound pretty decent, so they're not horrible. So they still do sound pretty good. So that's the next thing. And that's about it. Those are the only three things that I like about this device: the display, the build quality, and the dual front firing speakers. Now, you may ask, what's bad about this device? Well, the first thing I noticed when testing this out is the battery. The battery life on this phone is horrendous. I was using it yesterday, and you know, I had the screen on and just doing certain things. This phone drained under 50% battery in less than an hour. That's horrendously bad. And from what I'm told, for some reason with this particular device, when it came out, there was always somebody, people complaining about the battery. For some reason, Huawei just screwed up with the battery on this particular device. And I know somebody that had a device like this, and the battery just went down really, really quick. So the battery life on this phone is terrible. You're not going to get through a full day on this battery unless you put it in ultra power saving mode or something like that and turn the brightness all the way down. That's the only way I think you'll get through a full day. Next thing, the OS, it's lag city. I mean, this phone lags so badly, it'll drive you insane. So it's just not, with no more security or OS updates, it's lag city here. It's terrible, okay? Next thing, the poor cameras. Now, the cameras weren't that great when this phone came out. They were okay. But compared to the cameras of today and the quality of cameras you can get from even mid-tier phones today, this camera is pretty poor. So the camera is a no-go. And the fact this is bone stock Android, and I do mean that literally, bone stock Android, no features whatsoever. Just don't have any. Now, could you probably root this phone? That's possible. You could root it and get Android 10. But I haven't tried that. I've never rooted any phone. Maybe that's something I might try just to see how much better this phone might run. But I cannot recommend this device. This device is old. The battery's terrible. The cameras are not that great. You're not getting any more security updates. It's lag city, and the battery's terrible. But like I said before, the things that are good, the display is absolutely beautiful, stunning. The speakers still sound good, and the build quality is great. I mean, it really is. You don't have to worry about no fingerprints. It's not glass, it's aluminum. You got your fingerprint sensor back here that works pretty well. It's not the fastest, but the build quality on this device is excellent. It really is. So, only thing I say, like I said, is the display, the speakers, and the build quality. Other than that, the phone is not good. So that was just a quick look back at the Nexus 6P. I'm sure there's plenty of you out there that probably had this device. When I first got it, I loved it. The only thing, I think my major issue with the phone was when I first got it, was the bezels was so big and they didn't have to be that enormous. And the audio quality was bad for me, and it had no features. And I was so used to Samsung giving you so many different features, so I got spoiled by that. So that's why I was never really a bone stock Android type of guy. It's just nothing going on. It's just too simple and streamlined for me. I like phones that are a little more fun, you know, have a lot more features, a lot more customization attached to it. That's just what I prefer. So that was my quick look back at the Nexus 6P. We know that Nexus line is no longer in existence. It's all about the Pixel, and hopefully they'll come out with the Pixel 4 or the 4A, and hopefully that'll be a hit. Hopefully they'll have an in-display fingerprint sensor. You know, they'll just make that phone a lot better, wide angle, ultra wide on the camera, you know, 60 frames per second on the camera. Hopefully they'll make some improvements to that device. All right, thanks so much for taking the time to view this content. I do appreciate you. Thank you to all my subscribers. This channel is not possible without you, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.